Hi, welcome to Perfectly Wasted. I'm your host, DullOxide, and today is episode 2, Pets, Why I Personally Think Cats Are Better Than Dogs. You can find all of our episodes on the YouTube channel, Drinking Wiseman, as well as my bi-weekly podcast, Brew the Truth. You can find photos of me in my cosplay and some day-to-day photos of me on my Instagram at DullOxide. So let me just start by saying I don't hate dogs, I just don't really like them. And we're going to talk about some of the reasons I dislike them and some of the fears I have of them, as well as some of the things that I like about cats that are better. So, to start with, these are my boys. On the far left, we have Ash, the newest addition to the family here, and then we have Star in the middle, making that gnarly little face that he's making there. On the far right, we have Loki, who is by far the tamest of the three. Now, one of my biggest fears, I'd have to say, is probably of big dogs. And it's not something that's specific to dogs. Any animal really can maim you. I am a little bit worried of the larger dogs that can fit entire limbs inside of their mouths. And that's kind of what scares me in some cases. Now, I know that even the bully breeds that just have a bad name for themselves don't necessarily just maim everyone. It's relatively rare. You see it on the news, but you know that hundreds of thousands of people have pets that don't really do anything but love them. So I am a little bit scared of maiming. In the worst case, I think that cats could probably make something that might produce a scar. So it's a little different there. You know, if you're looking at large cats, then yes, they can certainly maim you. But in the domesticated pet world, dogs compared to cats, you're going to see a lot less cat maiming compared to dog maiming, which you probably see more news on anyways. So that is one of the things that does scare me. And with maiming, we really have to talk about poundage. Like, you know, if I'm getting a pet that's 100 to 200 pounds, we're talking about the difference between like a husky and a freaking panther in this case. Like, these are big animals, you know, and with these big animals come a lot of responsibilities. You know, personally, walking dogs, it's not something that I really want to do. I do quite a bit of walking now because I am playing a lot of Pokemon Go, but I like to walk at my own pace, not have to go and clean things up. Cats do all of their business in a box with the exception of, you know, maybe some hairballs. And if you're getting short hair and medium length hair cats, you really don't have any hairballs to worry about, or it's few and far between. So, I mean, the size of these animals is almost the same as wild animals, and some of them can quite literally tear you limb from limb if they needed to or wanted to. So that's something that, like I said, does scare me. I mean, I don't think that I've ever seen a 100-pound cat in real life. I've seen pictures of them, and they look like they can barely walk. Whereas a 100-pound dog I see all the time, and with, you know, children and little people and things like that. I mean, I'm more scared of these kids holding these 100-pound dogs that run down the street and get pulled with them than I would be of any cat that's a domestic cat. You know, for the most part, it's harmless. And with that, you get these dogs that are just so giant, and they, you know, they want to sit on your lap. These giant lap dogs, which I mean, also is not always the case. But you know, your dog loves you. It's going to sit on your lap. It's going to sit there and want to be pet and lick you and curl up and, you know, fall asleep. And like, holy crap, that dog is huge. And maybe the lady in the photo is not really large or anything like that, but that is a gigantic dog. Whereas even the biggest cat that I could ever conceive owning would be maybe 25 pounds that might want to sit on my lap and purr and fall asleep. It's not like my legs are going to go numb from that. So, I mean, that's just kind of a big difference. Now, there are smaller dogs, I understand, that are actual lap dogs. But at the same time, it's just, there's something about petting a small animal that's sitting there purring, not necessarily licking you. I don't really like licking. We'll get on to that here in a minute. But, you know, some of these animals, they're really big, and they do just want to have the same amount of love as your smaller animals, especially if you have a small dog and a big dog. Whereas cats are all relatively the same size. I mean, if we go back to my boys, you could see we have a kitten on the far left, one that is basically a teenager, and then the old man on the right who's not even that old. He's only 6 months older than Star. In fact, all of them have about a 6 month spread. So the sizing, like Loki probably won't get too much bigger than he is. And if that, he might get around the 20-pound range. And that's about average for most cats. If you have a cat that's over 20 pounds, it's probably overweight. But, you know, that being said, any of them, all of them can sleep on me. I've had it where two of them have come up on me and slept on me. And it's really not uncomfortable. Whereas you have, these, like, I can't even conceive this thing sleeping on you. You could possibly die, just from not being able to breathe. So that's a pretty big thing. And I don't really want that. But that's another reason that I believe that cats are better than dogs. They're generally smaller animals. They basically take care of themselves. The size difference, like this thing could probably kill me if it wanted to, whereas any of my boys or any domestic cat for that matter probably have a hard time killing me before, I woke up if I was asleep or before I was able to defend myself in some way. So, I mean, that's something that's different. Now, the thing that I really dislike about dogs is they have giant tongues and they like to lick everything. Even the most well behaved dog likes to lick things. And I just don't really enjoy dogs licking me. It's just, like cats lick too. It's not something that's specific to dogs, but cat tongues are much smaller. They're not quite as wet. And they very rarely lick humans unless they're really affectionate towards you. So most of the cats that I've had, yeah, they'll lick me every once in a while, but usually it's not something that happens on the daily basis, which with dogs, it seems to happen all the time. So I am definitely not a fan of that. I realize that neither of them is extremely hygienic if a cat licks you or a dog licks you, as they lick themselves. So it's just something that I'm really not looking forward to. When I go to my friends' houses, I'm okay with seeing dogs and they can sit there and be, cute and be themselves. And I'm okay with playing with them even and, petting them. But as soon as that thing starts licking me, it's like, what am I going to go do next? I might go eat. I might, go touch my face and then I have dog germs all over me, which I mean, it's the same with cats and people freak out about animal germs all the time. And I'm not really that worried about it. But, like, I don't even like putting lotion on because it leaves a weird feeling on my hands. So dogs licking me, leaving this slimy residue, I'm just not all about that. So that's really my biggest thing against dogs is I just don't like being licked. And I think probably a lot of people can get on board with that. I don't get this whole making out with your dog thing like this. I just searched dog licking on the internet and this is the first photo I get and basically they're kissing and whatever. If you love your dog and you want to kiss it, that's fine. But like, I don't really want some animal's tongue in my mouth, so that's kind of where I stand on that. I mean, going back, I want to say that personally, I guess I'm more of a minimalist pet owner. I don't really want to take care of something that is going to require as much care as a dog. You got to make time to go outside and play with it or play with it inside of the house. You have to walk it. It's you want to try and get it to interact with other dogs, possibly, so you maybe have two. Like the worst case for me is I've got three cats, which means I have 2 to 3 litter boxes, which means I have to clean 2 to 3 litter boxes daily. And that's much less work for me than walking an animal. And I understand people let their dogs out into their backyards or into their little patios to do their business. It's a lot smaller area to clean up. It's your own area. You don't have to worry about it as much. But I mean, really, your dog wants to go out and have a walk and be with its human. It's different. Now, I know there are arguments. You have the argument that, cats are assholes and dogs give unconditional love and dogs are man's best friend and things to that effect. And I mean, there's nothing that's really going to change that. Those sayings have been around for forever. And I mean, cats really aren't assholes. They just like the humans that they like. And if you're not one of those humans or the cat's personality is a little bit different, it's the same with dogs. It's going to be the same way. Dogs, I think, are kind of more unconditionally loving. They can pretty much love anyone as long as you're feeding them and being kind to them, which is about the same with humans. So I think it's pretty much the same with cats. It's just something that people have noticed that dogs give unconditional love and cats are kind of assholes. And that maybe that's why I like cats more too, because I guess I'm kind of an asshole too. So all that I can say on that is, personally, I like cats better than dogs. I'm open to people trying to sway my opinion on this. So if you have any comments, please post them on the video. Nothing that's really harsh or negative, please. Let's try and keep it simple and clean. Please like, subscribe, and check out my other videos. And thanks again for watching. That's 10 minutes perfectly wasted.